The Shilin Cutter is a blade style that has been around for a couple of hundred years and is well known for its awesome working capabilities. And in the last couple of years, we have seen companies attempt to modernize it with locks like liner locks and crossbar locks, and we've even seen companies drop it with button locks. But what happens when Vosteed decides to take the Shilin Cutter straight out the history books and bring it to 2025? That's how you get the Vosteed Shilin Cutter with the VAnchor Lock. A knife that I believe might be the best working budget knife available today. I'm going to tell you why. Stick around. What it do, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly, and this is the Vosteed Shilin Cutter. Before we break down the specs, do me a favor, make sure that you've stabbed that like button, that you've /subscribe, and that you've bashed that bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. The Vosteed Shilin Cutter comes in at 7.07 inches overall length with a 2.90 inch Shilin Cutter blade of 154 cm or Elmax steel with a full flat grind coming down to a slicey edge with a satin finish and a crown spine. We have a handle length of 4.17 inches, in this case with Norplex Ultrex G10. This is also available with aluminum or carbon fiber with the Elmax blades. We have a blade stock thickness of 118 thousandths. There's that beautifully crowned spine. We have a tip up, mostly deep carry, right hand only pocket clip, which that is a shame because this is easily an ambidextrous knife with the opening methods and locking system. For those opening methods, we have dual-sided thumb studs that work fantastic. We have a front flipper. You can do the rollover, the thumb, and yes, even, let me get a grip. Ooh, the reach around. Let's do that one more again. There we go. And then, of course, you have that minimal rear flipper tab that works fantastic. I love that ting when it comes out. Listen to this for a second. Here's some acoustics. It just sounds good. It is locked up with Vosteed's VAnchor Lock. And that's where we're really bringing the Shilin into the future. This is a locking system from Vosteed that is a pivot actuated button. And it has a lock bar in there that's hardened steel and uses an anchor plate and a magnetic connector. So that lock bar goes right there in the tang of the blade. And then the top of our spine butts up against that stop pin, giving you very solid lockup, no play left or right or up and down. Much stronger lockup than a standard plunge button lock. Very similar to, or closer to like if there was a pivot actuated compression lock. So it's a very strong locking system to go with this working style of knife. Give you a couple size comparisons with the others in the Nightshade family. The OG Nightshade is the largest of the bunch. Next came the mini Nightshade. And as you can see, the Vosteed Shilin Cutter fits in right between the both of those. Why they didn't stick with the Nightshade name? Maybe it's because of going with this more modern EDC shaped handle than what these than the Nightshade had. This is more of that traditional Shilin, almost banana shape. And while it works really well for me on the mini Nightshade, locking me in and pushing that blade everywhere I want it, the full-size Nightshade just isn't quite as comfortable for me to use. I prefer using the mini, actually, and I carry the mini quite a bit more. This is wide enough for my hand everywhere that I grip, and it really locks me in. And that more modern style with the swell here pushes that up into the meat of my hand, locking this blade in comfortably. The contouring, I can feel that in my hand. It feels very good. Choked up. Back here, where behind the pivot, where my extra large size gloves, my extra large size glove sized hands still get a full 4-finger grip. And then up here in that choil area where we've got the flat spot here, just feels phenomenally locked in, even without any jimping, because of the shape of the blade. Well, I mean, without the jimping extending up here. The base of my thumb is still on some of that jimping, but because the blade extends up the way it does, it really locks you in. Back here, that jimping helps keep you secure. Very comfortable to turn around and cut straps. If I was rocking this in a beef jerky Avenger grip, I am capped off and locked in. And a beef jerky Defender grip, I really feel locked in because that pocket clip is just right there in my hand. I think this mid-sized sibling to the Nightshades is the perfect size. The blade style of a Shilin always outworks its size, which is why I've enjoyed the mini so much. When I'm using this, this feels like a little big knife, and I can use this for tasks that I don't, normally use most of my smaller knives for. And even though this is sub 3 inches, it still feels like you have more blade than that, and it'll put that work in. We come down to a nice and slicey edge. Whoops, with that full flat grind. Vosteed always, well, that's my fault. Vosteed always does a great job with their edges. And as you can see, it's always pointed at what I'm trying to cut. If I need to pierce something, that tip is pointed right there, and it just draws the blade into the material and pulls it deeper. It's a blade shape that I wasn't sure of at first. And then after seeing a couple of reviews from like G-Ball and Neebs on the Nightshades, I got that mini one first. It was my first Shilin, my first Vosteed, and the first limited edition knife that I bought when I was starting the channel. This is the County Com collab, and I fell in love with it. The blade shape. This is my most used, or my most carried 5th pocket knife of 2024, and I still enjoy carrying it. I got the County Com Nightshade next, and I didn't care for it as much. The blade does massive work, and in some grips it's still very comfortable, but that skinnier part here, and this starts to feel more like a banana, and it's just not quite as solid and comfortable in my hand as the Shilin Cutter. That flipper tab, we've got jimping all the way around it. Very nice light switch, and then it disappears because of the shape of our handle here. The jimping on it helps lock you in whether you're behind it or on top of it. I think that's really well done. We're going to do a quick hardware check, And all of our body screws on the Nightshade and our thumb stud are T8s, our pocket clip, and then the dual screws on our pivot are T6s. Do I wish these were T8s? Absolutely. I can feel the magnet in the plate pulling the tip. I absolutely wish these were T8s, but because they were putting two of them up there, I get why they did it. And this is their smiley face pivot there. Our billboarding is just the Vosteed logo on the clip, and it's subtle enough that it doesn't bother me. And then we have Vosteed right up against the handle there, and 154 cm there. Oh, that sound. Oof, that sounds so good. A couple other quick size comparisons. We will go with a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 one clip rendition. And as you can see, the Spyderco, I just realized one of my lights wasn't on. The Spyderco is a little over an inch longer, but I'll give you another size comparison that lines up very well with it. Oh, gosh, I love that sound. That Neutron 2 from TRM is almost the exact same size as the Shilin Cutter. And the handle shape is even kind of similar. One of the biggest benefits of the Shilin is the negative angle that the blade creates with the low tip and the big belly, putting the blade, the edge of the blade and the tip well below your fingers, making it easy to use that tip or that belly on a flat surface. As I was showing, it also draws materials into it when you're slicing. If you were looking for a working knife, this is hard to go wrong. So, plus, like I said, it's a fidget beast. The price on the Nightshades is pretty good as well. These start with the G10 and the 154 cm at $99. There's a couple of different variants available on White Mountain Knives, where if you use code DVD, it drops it to about $90. Under $100, right about that, for 154 cm. Vosteed's build quality and the VAnchor Lock is very fair to me. This is very well made as also. You can see our full steel liner on that side is skeletonized and inlaid into the G10. And then on this side, you can see our lock bar that actually pops up, pardon me, and wedges into the tank. The detent with the VAnchor Lock feels great. I don't know if I haven't taken this apart. This is a lefty pass around knife, and I haven't done a disassembly on it myself yet. I don't believe it uses any type. It might have a detent ball on there. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I want to get one of these myself. Let's see. And then I can take it all apart. But let's see if I can show that bar that's wedged right up in there, in that spot on the tang of the blade. There we go. That notch on the tang of the blade. You can see the lock bar lifting that steel right into the notch. That's why you get such rock solid lockup. And that's why I would trust this for more work than a standard plunge lock. With this blade shape, you know, the different things you're going to be doing, you're probably going to be putting torque, you know, different types of torque on this blade. And I checked out the CJRB Sasaya, their Shilin Cutter, which they do with the standard plunge lock. And I know that CJRB has had a great track record with their plunge locks. But out of all the Shilins I've checked, including Fentiso and some other brands, the CJRB Sasaya was my least favorite. And that's the last locking system I would want to have on something that I'm going to put to work the way I'm going to use a Shilin Cutter. I trust this much more than that plunge lock. So if you want to step up though and go with aluminum scales and Elmax, or carbon fiber at Elmax, it goes up to $149 or $159. And I will link those below. There's a lot available on Amazon right now. A lot of styles available. Those will be linked below. Of course, the Amazon affiliate links help the channel. That's completely up to you if you use those or not. After checking this out, I do know for a fact that I will be adding a Shilin Cutter to my collection. I believe I'm going to get an aluminum and Elmax. I don't have any Elmax in the collection at the moment, so I want to get the aluminum and Elmax. And if they do an Ultim collab with CountyCom, you know I'll be all over it. If you haven't checked out a Shilin, this is a great one to check out. And if you have used them and like them, I would absolutely give this a shot. The more modern EDC handle shape really makes a difference while still getting all the benefits of that Shilin Cutter blade. Plus, very safe, very fidgety finger safe lock that your finger never has to go in the path of the blade. If there was one thing that I would improve, I wish this jimping up here was a little bit sharper and went all the way around the top. It is not hard to use, as you can see, but if I'm not thinking about it, I can slide off of it easier. Our plunge grind, just to point out, starts here and ends right here. So we've got quite a bit of sharpening life. That's done very well. And as you can see, that full flat grind brings it down to a very, very slicey edge. And our stop pin in the closed position hits back here. So you absolutely could extend this choil further if you needed to, or higher, I should say, if you needed to, if you sharpen that off. I want to know what you guys think about the Vosteed Shilin Cutter. Yeah, I absolutely think that they missed the mark not making this lefty friendly. But other than that, do you use a Shilin Cutter? Have you checked this one out? Do you use that style of blade from anybody? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, folks, stay safe, stay frosty, but most importantly, stay deadly. Yo, Kripple Krew. I meant to show what came in the box with the Shilin Cutter, so I'm going to tack this on to the end of the video. Our Shilin Cutter box comes with an awesome Vosteed tin that you can use for a lot of stuff. You've got the Vosteed cloth, a Vosteed pouch with a patch to put on any of your EDC gear, and you get the stickers, a full blowout of the knife, a little bit about the VAnchor system, and the awesome Shilin Cutter itself. That's it. Stay deadly.